All right, hello there. It's Drinker and MauLer. Woo!
Hello.
No countdown tonight. We're just diving straight into this because that's how much we value your time. We're not going to waste a second of it with countdowns.
I just picture the intro machine broke and you're like kicking it like a jukebox. And you're like, fuck.
Come on. Yeah, well, I need to get some kind of intro put together for like the Last Order's recordings. You know, we've got one for Open Bar, which is nice, but we need something like a bit chiller. You know, like the winding down of an evening when there's just a couple of guys left in the pub bantering about stuff. That's the kind of vibe we need here for this.
Yeah.
So I will get something made. But anyway, for the time being, we thought we would just jump in and do these super chats from the other night because, wow, you guys were generous on Thursday. We've got a ton here. So thank you for that. And we'll do our best to answer them, I guess. So first one is Metal Face Rosie, who says, what's your favorite movie that you discovered through Red Letter Media's review series? That is a good question because I'm pretty sure every one that they've covered I'd seen already. By its nature, it's old movies and they tend to lean quite a lot into like sci-fi and action and stuff. So I guess I've seen most of them. I can't think of any new ones.
There are ones they've recommended through other videos that I've definitely checked out, but review is like Starship Troopers, seen it, Independence Day, seen it, Ghostbusters, seen it, Indiana Jones, like yep.
Enemy Mine, I remember them covering that.
Elm Street movies, Gremlins, Total Recall, Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's like, yeah, I think I've seen basically all of these.
Yeah. But it's a good series. I like it. You know, it's always fun to get together and talk about old movies and kind of, you know, sometimes you can introduce people to ones that they might have passed over or not really heard of. So it's fun. It's kind of why I did the Extra Shots series on my second channel. Like same premise there, just shorter. It's not long form discussion.
Oh, I did check out the Dharma Netflix series. That could have been because of them as well, because they did a video on that for review. Did you ever check that out?
Dharma? No,
Dahmer's and Jeffrey Dahmer, right? Like it's the one with the guy who plays Quicksilver.
Yeah, so I think I watched like the first 2 episodes with that, and I was just like, this is really bleak and dark and depressing, and I'm just not loving it that much. I respected his performance in the role. I thought he did great. I just didn't particularly want to watch more of it.
Yeah, it's definitely disturbing. But it's surprisingly popular, I think. Back then, anyway. I don't know what they're doing with it these days, but
people, I guess, they've always just got a fascination with serial killers. You know, it's
a little
that morbid fascination trying to understand them. Andrew McCarthy says, "Is Xena any good? I heard it's great until the final season. Also between the two, Zoro or Sanji." That's good. Yeah. So from One Piece, I guess who would we pick, Zoro or Sanji? So wait, Sanji the chef?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go for Sanji. I fucking love him. He's really cool. It's partly down to the actor, but
I have a weakness for Zoro. Okay, I love the fact that he's such a sort of badass, but that he's nonetheless impressed and enamored with Luffy's hyper positivity and like honest nature.
Yeah.
Like I don't trust this world, like edgy type character, but simultaneously like, man, this is a good guy. You know?
Yeah. Like, nice characterization. And also with Xena, I mean, I have fond memories of watching it back in the 90s. I feel like if I rewatched it now, I'd be like, oh my God, this is so cheesy. But it was a product of its time. And, you know, Xena was a pretty good character, I guess. Yeah, I just think probably the lack of budget and maybe the actors not being amazing fighters probably would show through a little bit today. But yeah, it was good for its time. M8566, hey Drinker, who's your favorite Star Trek captain and why is it James T. Kirk? Well, you've answered it for me. Yes, James T. Kirk is my favorite Star Trek captain. I know a lot of people like Picard, and that's fine. You're entitled to be wrong. But for me, Kirk was just, you know, other people might have had Luke Skywalker or Han Solo or whatever growing up. I had James T. Kirk. He was my hero as a kid. I loved the fact that he was smart, he was brave, he was adventurous, he was perfect at rallying his crew in the most dire moments. He always found a way out of situations, no matter how desperate they were, and just your classic American hero. Not too, I don't know if pretentious is fair to say of Picard, but, Picard maybe always came across as just a little bit stuffy and pompous, and I feel like Kirk was just a bit more grounded and down to earth, and for that reason, he was my ultimate Star Trek captain.
Do you know who Az's favorite is?
I don't. I'm going to suggest it might be Cisco.
Because I always hear him referencing Picard with like quotes and stuff, but I never thought to ask. I assume Gary's would be Kirk as well.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
But as for I'm not sure. I'm not sure where he goes with that.
For now, it's funny because if it was me, it's like I kind of fill in the blanks with Picard with what I know about Professor X. You know what I
mean? Sure, yeah. Let's go with that.
But I like Kirk a lot from the movies I've seen. And that is, have I seen the majority of what you think about when you think of Kirk?
I would say so, yeah, because, okay, I know there's the original series, and it's a broadly similar version of Kirk. Obviously, it's a much younger version of him, so he's a bit more of a ladies' man in that. But I think you've seen the best aspects of Kirk in the films, probably. And I think Undiscovered Country rounds it out quite nicely. So you get, you get a fairly good picture of a man's life, I suppose, through these movies, because you've watched the first one as well, although we didn't talk about it too much. But that was him, in his 40s, so still a kind of a guy in his prime. And then you get Wrath of Khan, he's very much into middle age then. And by the time you get to Undiscovered Country, he's kind of an older man approaching retirement. And it's runs the full gamut, I suppose, of his development as a character.
Finishing that adventure in just half a month-ish now.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that after slogging our way through Star Trek V, which no one needs to experience. It'd be nice to finish on a high, I suppose. He also says, "Hey MauLer, who's your favorite character from the Buffyverse, and why is it? Wait, I forgot. Was it Spike or Wesley, and why?"
So funny. Person I'm watching it with right now, going through it right now, they've heard me talk about it forever. When Spike was introduced, they were like, I already know this character's lasted a lot longer. It's going to be a lot more interesting than, this, that, the other thing. And I was like, oh, yeah? They were like, yeah, because it's your favorite character of all time, isn't it? And I was like, when I'm watching a show like Buffy with someone, I never want to confirm or deny anything because it's just easy to start assuming things. If, say, for example, they know I think that Spike is one of the best characters of all time and he's introduced in season 2, then they know he's safe, basically. Because, why would he die so soon if he was your favorite character of all time? The funny thing is he's not. It is Wesley. Wesley, I think, is the greatest character arc in all of fiction that I have ever seen in Angel. Damn. From Buffy to Angel, the TV show. I think he's just the best character. He represents the growth from boy to man. It's done in a very slow but also fast way. He has 3, I would argue, significant events in his life that change him from... In season 3 of Buffy, he's a bumbling sidekick who is the sort of comedic relief and definitely a foil to Giles, being that we used to think of Giles as like the nerdy, sort of stuffy type. But by the time Wesley's introduced, he is that, and Giles is actually kind of badass. Like he's the way they do it is kind of funny. He stops wearing his jacket. And he's like a lot more like laid back. He gets fired. He's much more willing to say and do cool things, while Wesley is like the lame one who in his first episode, he immediately sells out the characters to try and save his own life. And so you're like, I don't like this guy. And then like halfway through the season, he gets in the way significantly and almost destroys someone's life. And then he's like humiliated, ignored. But by the end of the season, he has a heroic moment. You're like, okay, there you go. But he's still humiliated, falls over while doing it, sort of thing. You move over to Angel, and they start making things a little bit harder for him. At one point, a bad guy captures him and tortures him for a significant portion of time, and it's not nice what happens to him. And he clearly has changed from that point. I think he's broken a bone and got loads of cuts and bruises, and doesn't like to speak casually and chill anymore. And they dramatically reduce his sort of comedic beats. Fast forward to, he makes a huge decision in season 3 that is actively going to harm everybody, but for what he considers good reason. And then everyone in the main team wants him dead, and he nearly dies. He gets his throat slit. Slowly recovers, was abandoned. No one cares about him, and he carries on doing what he thinks is right, sort of thing, until you get all the way to Angel season 5, where he's essentially, it's hard to actually explain. Gary feels a similar way about this. It's remarkable to watch a character over 6 seasons go from a stupid little kid that they rely on for comedy to one of the most adult and interesting, mature characters who has like a perspective on life that I find to be very interesting and does everything he can to do the right thing, but will suffer immensely for it. Without spoiling, further than that, that's like my pitch for you should go and watch it. Anybody out there, because it's something I wouldn't mind making a video on at some point. But yes, he's someone that I don't think many people care about at all, and I think that's why they were able to experiment with him so much. They were like, nobody really cares about this character, so we can put him through all kinds of things. And it ends up creating something that's incredibly compelling. But Spike is a close second for me, with Angel being third, and I think Fringy, for example, would flip those. Yeah, he prefers Angel.
It's really quite fascinating that you've essentially got a teen drama centering around killing vampires that has this degree of character development and thought and care put into the people in it. I mean, it's just it's a remarkable mindset, I suppose, for a show like this. And I feel like that is just, it's got to be super rare for things working in this genre.
It's why people want me and Gary to finally talk about it, because there's so much I have to say, right? Like I think there's 4 major characters in Buffy and Angel that have journeys that span 6 to 7 seasons that change them from X to Y, that they breadcrumb in all of the significant things you need to know before like a huge payoff happens that's destroys the world or has them kill a person, that relates to everything that they've set up. It's exactly the blueprint I would advise for any writer in terms of changing someone over time. Like I said, with Wesley, there's just loads of these episodes. It's like 1 per 3 episodes where an event will happen that makes him do something that's kind of difficult, and it will be relevant forever on. Like it'll just be a slight nudge in a particular direction, and it'll make you think about things. And they do it with everybody. It's the best they can do, but they also fuck up a lot. There's at least one significant character assassination that the entire fandom despise. They have some really bad plotting. Their world building is pretty bad. It's I would argue it's something they clearly just didn't care about that much, which is a shame. But the character stuff, that's absolutely, it's what Gary would tell you, is it's where the show shines, and it's absolutely worth seeing. What's funny is anyone you talk to about Buffy and Angel as a whole are never going to tell you Buffy's their favorite character. It's always someone else.
Yeah.
And I think,
like you say, I think a lot of that creative freedom comes from not having to work with the main character. Like if you've got a minor character that people don't like necessarily, you could be so much more inventive and daring with them. You can take risks in their development, and they often pay off so much more.
It's very fun. But yes, my favorite character of Buffy and Angel is Wesley, and he's my favorite character of all time. Not sure I would rank like a top 10 or anything, but do you have one of them, Drinker?
What, for Buffy, or just generally?
An all-timer for fiction.
Oof, gosh. Yeah, that's putting me on the spot. I think I would need to take some time on that. I quite often come back to Farscape with things like this. I loved Crace, his character arc over the course of 3 seasons, I think, to go from essentially a guy who's just bent on revenge. He's determined to hunt down Crichton and kill him for the death of his brother, to a reluctant ally who kind of works with them because their goals align, to a guy who gradually emerges as actually quite a decent man who is actually willing to risk his life to help them, to ultimately sacrificing his life for the greater good. That was a pretty good character arc. I really liked that. And it, like I say, it unfolds over 3 entire seasons.
Is he like so high scoring that he doesn't immediately get like trounced by Lord of the Rings characters, for example?
I don't know. It popped into my head, I suppose. Mm-hmm. If I was given like an hour to sit down and like make my list and stuff, I'm sure I'd come out with very different ones. But yeah, it's just one that stuck out for me, I suppose.
It is a curious question, and I think people are always surprised that I have an answer, but it is just it's not something I haven't thought of for a long, long time.
Yeah. We got to see that video then. I'd love to see you make it.
Yeah, someday. I got to make the Prestige one, the Interstellar one, Buffy and Angel one, fucking, I don't know, everything.
I will say, on the subject of Buffy, are you ready to feel old yet, by the way? Because Alison Hannigan turned 50.
I know.
The actress who played Willow. Just, how is that possible?
Everything's moving along.
No,
I'm asking my permission to move along.
No, I don't want to get old. I don't want things to change. Just that was shocking. Like, I don't know. Maybe because I haven't seen her in much recently. It's like in my head, she's still like 30-ish. It's scary stuff.
Yeah.
Stephen DeLeon says, hello from West Texas. Well, hello to you from Scotland. T1S says, hey, Drinker, have you ever played? And also, would you be interested in streaming any of FromSoft's popular titles like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, or Elden Ring? 10 out of 10 would recommend. Well, I mean, I played Elden Ring. I would never stream myself playing it because I think it would be the most boring, frustrating thing for any audience to watch. Just me getting constantly killed and gradually slogging my way through each boss. Yeah, that wouldn't be much fun. But yeah, I played it. I think it's possibly not for me, those kinds of games. Like the degree of skill that you need to progress to the later stages. I just don't think I've got the time and the commitment to like reach that level. And I don't know, man. Like with games like that, when they stop becoming fun and they just become a kind of frustrating slog, I guess I'm just more inclined to stop and go into something else. Like I don't have that much time in my life that I can just spend all day, every day getting good at them. Maybe that's just me. Or maybe I'm just not very good. Not very good at video games.
It ain't for everyone. It's fair.
Yeah, but I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, it's so fucking overrated. It's just ridiculous and hard. And I hate all the elitists that just, are like, oh, get good. It's like, no, fine. If you're good at it and you're willing to invest the time in it, then good on you. I respect that. It's just perhaps not for me. Stephen DeLeon says, MauLer, tell me why Buffy is a great show and why I should watch it. Well, I think he just kind of did. So yeah, go back to his previous answer.
It's definitely the characters. It's you'll warn people. You'll watch the first season and a lot of the second season and be like, "What is this cringe?" But you'll notice they improve it as you go along, and it's something that I'm like 50-50 on pushing on Drinker. To be honest with you, I showed you a bunch of clips that I think were really tempting to you just for the quality of the dialogue, right? Which is primarily what gets you through the entire show compared to the weaker parts of it, but. It really is the characters. If I had a top 20 list of characters of all time, I think at least 5 of them will be from Buffy and Angel, which is impressive.
I think it's just, it's the moments that the show can suddenly pull out this, like, because generally their tone's fairly like light, or at least like it's not afraid to crack jokes and be comedic and have fun with its premise. But there's occasional moments of just sheer drama that hit you like a ton of bricks, like The Body.
Yeah, how do you know about that? But that's season 5.
Yeah, well, I think I watched bits and pieces. Like, it's not like I only watched season 1 and then just stopped. Like, I think probably I just became a casual viewer, so I dived in and out.
I thought you would go as far as something like season 3-ish, but yeah.
Well, I remember watching. Well, you can probably clue me in on when this is. There was like one season where Buffy's boyfriend is part of like some secret elite military force.
Season 4.
Right. Okay, that's season 4. Right, because I remember that. So I obviously got that far. And yeah, I think I saw bits and pieces of season 5 and then probably came back in for the end.
Yeah, I mean, that makes some sense.
But yeah, don't expect too much sense from me. But yeah, I remember that episode. That was just like, oh wow, this is really heavy stuff.
Yeah, because you're right. That episode lives rent free at everyone's heads who's seen Buffy. It's one of the best, if not the best, exploration of like a person dying who means a lot to you in your life. People to this day still like cite it for whatever reason, but as in like whatever reason they want at the time. But you've got the musical episode. Did you see that?
Once again with Feeling or something.
Once More with Feeling, yes. That's another very famous one. And then obviously the one where they can't speak. Like it's Buffy. The person going through with it right now said the thing they are reminded the most of is TNG and DS9 when watching Buffy and Angel.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised when it's like quite episodic TV like that, and you've got quite a wacky premise that you've got creative freedom to have all kinds of crazy setups. Then it does allow you to experiment with lots of ideas. And yeah, to be fair, there was a lot of episodes of TNG that would have things like that happen. Like, I don't know, the crew start de-evolving into previous, species that they evolve from, or parts of the Enterprise get frozen in time. So like there's a warp core breach, but it's like frozen halfway through exploding, things like that. So, it's crazy, but it's just things you can have fun with, I suppose. So yeah, I totally get the comparison. Michael Brocky says, who had a better third act career, Stallone or Arnie? Fucking Stallone, 100%. He's been able to, carry on doing action flicks pretty successfully. Like, I think it's fair to say he's still physically pretty good. He was able to revisit, some of his greatest hits, like Rocky. He was able to transition into the Creed movies, make more Rambo films. He did the Expendables that played on the whole idea of being an aging action hero. But then you get like more serious stuff, that like Tulsa King and stuff, where he gets to do a bit more just dramatic acting. So yeah, he's been way more successful. Arnold's was very much predicated on the physique. He was a big action god from the 80s, which was great until he didn't have the physique anymore and didn't really have the acting chops to back it up. So he's not really been able to transition into more interesting things.
Yeah, I'd say Stallone is definitely one if there was a fight. Do you ever see Samaritan?
Yes. I'm sorry, I did. No, it wasn't great. No. Yeah, it was just a pretty weak superhero premise. It feels like a bit like M. Night Shyamalan directed it, but not very well. So yeah,
right.
Not good. Yeah, man. But I kind of just wish Arnie would retire at this point. It's like, yeah, you've done your bit. Just stop now. Marine Lad
is, though, isn't he? He's mostly just talking now. I mean, I guess he was in that show you tried to check out, right? Fubar.
Oh, yeah, Fubar. Yeah, I got through like 2 episodes of that and just thought, nah, this isn't very good.
Yeah.
Next one is Marine Lad says, apart from Lara Croft, favorite or top 3 game girl bosses, etc. Ooh, I would probably go for Jill Valentine. She's my gal from Resident Evil. The boss from Metal Gear Solid 3. Thought she was a fantastic character. To this day, I need to do a video about her, why she's so interesting. And probably Aerith from Final Fantasy VII. Those would be my top picks. I think they're all great characters. Interesting, awesome in their own ways, very different in a lot of ways, but yeah, those are my top picks. Don't know if you've got any.
What was it? Just top female characters in gaming, or
yeah,
we'll throw in Samus, GLaDOS, and who else do I want?
It's Abby from Last of Us 2, isn't it? Come on, MauLer.
I didn't want to say it because it's so obvious. Everyone would pick that as their favorite. So it's like, got to come up with something a bit better. But, I could just settle on it. The funny thing is, that just leads me to say, like, oh, yeah, Ellie. It's like, well, a particular era of Ellie, of course.
You get those... it's funny, actually. I was playing with one of those, like, deductive algorithms earlier, where it's just like, it'll guess whatever character you're thinking of within 10 attempts or within 10 questions. And so, like, I think the thing I was thinking of was Tifa from Final Fantasy. And, I put in the physical description. It's like, does she fight? Yes. Does she have, like, dark hair? Yes. And the next question was like, is she famous for being widely disliked? And I thought, you're thinking of Abby, aren't you?
It's funny.
Slack Attack says, in terms of storytelling, how do you feel about mind control as a trope? I find it sluggish with little to no consequences. Your thoughts? So, are we talking like just a temporary mind control measure? Like, okay, I can just command this guy to go and kill his best friend or whatever? Or are we talking like Manchurian Candidate, like deep repercussions, you're left traumatized by this thing?
What's the thing, isn't it? That's what I was thinking of when they said there's no repercussions. I'm just like, I mean... There's loads of stories where mind control has deep repercussions, even when it's like just definitively understood that it wasn't them, like Bucky, right?
Yeah.
So
not to reference Farscape again, but remember when John's got like Harvey inside him?
Yeah,
it's great
stuff. Aaron, right?
Yes, and it's great when it's slowly taking control of his mind, and like Scorpius is trying to command him to do things, and it's like every ounce of his willpower it takes just to try and stop him. So yeah, it's good stuff. So yeah, I think it can definitely work as long as it's well implemented and it does actually have long-term repercussions. Marky Mark, Drinker and MauLer, do you guys ever get super chats that you can't read out loud for fear of demonetization? Weirdly, no, actually. I don't know if you ever do, but
yeah. I think I've had that happen in the past where I see one and I'm like, oh, I probably can't read that. Just something like that.
It might, in one or two cases, it might just be like I have to change a couple of words to something like less twitchy with YouTube, you know. But yeah, I don't think we've really come across anything that I wouldn't read out, which I know is probably just giving people ammunition. Like, well, I'm going to send you all kinds of stuff. Angry Batman. I'm sad I won't be able to read all of the hate comments on Stargrift of people freaking out that Ryan is a guest. He needs to wear that Egyptian hat more. Yeah. I agree. He needs to wear that more. Imperator. The Alien teaser trailer looks promising at least, though I'm a tad skeptical just because of how many times we have been disappointed. I think you're right to feel that way. It does. But, you know, I think you were cautioning us the other day. Like, it's easy to have an impressive trailer, but it could still be a very shit movie. It just, you know, don't get too caught up in the enthusiasm. All I can say is, like, what they've shown us so far looks fine. So,
I mean, yeah, if we're going to go by just, you know, it could have been a bad trailer, I guess. It wasn't.
There was no obvious red flags in it, put it that way.
Yeah.
Yet. Simon Ho. There is no good and evil. There is only power and those who seek to... Sorry, those too weak to seek it. Voldemort, Acolyte stole and made layman gay. Deal with it, transphobe. Okay. Matthew Grumman says, Drinker, based on a couple of classic movie recommendations, it seems you're a Jimmy Stewart fan. I highly recommend The Mortal Storm with Stewart. Great film. That is a Stewart film I haven't seen yet, so thank you for the recommendation. RRTNZ. Hail Team Drinker. Shogun is very good, but Mariko's characterization is off from 1980 series and the novel. In Shogun, Chuck Norris played the cannons. That is very true, yes. He also played Japan. Northern English Bastard. Dear Drinker, MauLer, and guests. After watching the recent episode of Shogun, Bontaro proved to be the worst house guest ever. He was a bigger buzzkill than Buzz Killington. I'm one episode behind, actually. I need to catch up. Vinyl Morpheus. Disney Star Wars has almost no non-human main characters, and of course all the humans look like those of a Walmart ad. There's no imagination or creativity. I think that's a pretty valid criticism of Star Wars under Disney. There's really nothing. It's just a hollowed-out shell. Corey Crandall. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Disney is officially insane. Yep, you don't need to tell us that. John McKinley says, Drinker, you beautiful bringer of democracy. It was awesome seeing you, Az, and Kara play yesterday. Ryan, if you love freedom, then you'll join the fight. Hail, fellow drunklers, and cheers to you all. That was good fun playing Helldivers 2. Need to play it more. Was there ever a Helldivers 1, by the way? Because I don't recall ever seeing it.
Yeah. I'm unaware of it, but I know Rags was talking about how he played a lot of it, and I was like, oh shit, I never even heard of it really.
Metal Face Rosie says, y'all excited to see Philosophy Tube in the Acolyte? ContraPoints is going to have an aneurysm. What the hell does that even mean?
Say that again, sorry?
Are y'all excited to see Philosophy Tube in the Acolyte? ContraPoints is going to have an aneurysm.
Is that is Philosophy Tube in the Acolyte? I actually had no idea. I've heard that she was going to be in something, but what
is Philosophy Tube?
I don't know YouTuber, but a terrible YouTuber. So right. I don't know. Let me see if I can find if they have an IMDb page. Abigail Thorne.
What does she play in it?
There's no reference in the IMDb about Acolyte.
Huh.
You'd think there would be, considering how close we are to release.
Yeah, it's like 2 months from now. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. AJ Film Guy says, have you seen Cabrini? It's good. Same director as Sound of Freedom. Yes, I have seen it, and it's a pretty decent movie. Yeah, liked it overall. Nathan Rodriguez says, I'm not going to watch The Acolyte. It's stupid. I'll watch the true original 6 Star Wars movies and expanded universe, not the Disney Star Wars garbage. Well, I think that's a peaceful life for you. So, yeah, I'd fully agree. James Busher says, Drink Out, how far are you into Attack on Titan? I am about 2/3 of the way through season 2. I guess it kind of took the back seat because I was then watching Shogun and The Gentleman and various other things and playing Helldivers. So, but yeah, still enjoying it. J Smart. Question, what's with Billy Ray Headland and mullets? Every time I see her, she's always rocking one and it baffles me. Baffles me too, I guess. It's just the way she styles her hair. Keith Ringer says, I love you guys and everyone should become a member, but it's really funny to see you guys be 10 minutes late and people becoming members. Lol, hi Rags. I mean, yeah, sorry, we don't always start on time. We do our best, but sometimes we have to wait for our guests to come in. Keith Ringer says, I love you guys and everyone. Oh, no, sorry. I've just done that one. Cuckoo MBA says, Drinker, please ask chat to donate for Ukrainian defense. They need our help and we don't want them to lose. I can't really tell people to donate to wars, I'm afraid. That's not really my business. Cost Billingham says, no Sweeney Tit thumbnail. What is this nonsense? I know. I just couldn't think of any way to incorporate her, really. I don't know. I suppose like we could just have a 5-minute conversation about one of her films every week so that we can just put her in the thumbnail. That'd be all right, wouldn't it?
Put her in the corner.
Let's see. How many films has she actually done?
I have to review one of her films every week to make sure we can justify it.
Yeah. So, yeah, she has done... Oh, there's loads here. 53. Well, that's enough to keep us going for over a year.
And by the time we do that, she'll have a bunch of new ones.
Exactly, yeah.
And then we can split up episodes of her TV shows.
Endless Sydney Sweeney content. Nate says, Acolyte will be the first live-action Star Wars that I will be skipping. The next one to skip will be the Rey movie. I've never been a Star Wars... I've been a Star Wars fan for as long as I can remember, but I'm done now. Hail. I don't blame you at all. So,
no.
Rossi, gonna miss you on Stargrift MauLer. #Acolyte. Lol.
Yeah, but I think we're planning on doing like an episode for that, when it's all finished.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. John Hansen, hey Drinker and MauLer, cautiously optimistic about the Alien trailer, but taking it with a grain of salt. We've been burned by good trailers many times at this point, where the film ends up being shit. That is very, very true. Did you get excited about the Prometheus trailers?
I was hyper obsessed with it to the point where I was like, finally, Alien will be rescued. I love the Prometheus trailer. I kind of still love the Prometheus trailer.
Yeah.
It's such a promise of like Ridley Scott is back and Prometheus is the sort of reshaping and reformatting of Alien, and that we're going to learn some more, but we're ultimately probably going to open the doors to something that we just have no way of understanding, and it'll be creepy and people will die and it'll be awesome. But no, none of that. That movie starts to break in like 10 minutes. The fact that they arrive at the stupid fucking planet and most of them don't even know what the mission is. Like, they're all mercenaries on a mission that they haven't even...
Yeah, because I don't know about you, man. I would totally go on a 5-year mission without even knowing what it is or who's involved or what my chances.
How do you get agree for a payment on a mission you don't even know what the mission is?
Yeah. I don't know.
And it's like, yeah, but that's a really clever way of getting us to explain it to them in the story and then to you as an audience. You're like, yeah, that's real clever, man.
Why did Wayland pretend to be dead?
I can't. Do you remember? I remember people comparing the crew sort of waking up scene to Aliens and how woefully pathetic it was in Prometheus in terms of just chemistry. I think there's a moment where someone says, asks a question, and another character is like, "Do you always talk this much?" And then that's it.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, Okay.
Characters.
It was like the time to do this, but okay. Like, oh, and you know what? I'm pretty sure I liked it when it finished. And it's that story of you go out to the car, you're like,
yeah.
Wait a minute.
You start to break it down in your head. Like, oh, wait. A whole lot of things didn't make sense there.
Fucking post-credit shit where it's like, look, there's an alien that's not quite an alien. Isn't that something? And you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Boo.
Fucking alien. The engineers. What a shit addition. Right, anyway, I'm going to get sucked into this rabbit hole.
We should do that someday.
Like, oh, God, we could absolutely tear out a new one. And Covenant's even worse. Right, no, stop, Drinker, stop. This is
Remember Idris Elba's just in Prometheus?
Yeah.
Like, nobody remembers that. It's just like, oh, yeah. Charlize Theron's in it. You're like, yep.
If you told me that she was a fucking robot, I would have believed it because she's so wooden. It's ridiculous. And then, like, at one point he asked her if she's a robot, and then she's like, come to my quarters, we're going to fuck.
Yep.
I don't understand that chain of events in that conversation.
Nope.
This is Kyle, says, I've taken a break from Helldivers 2 to play some Street Fighter 6. Somebody has to be the punching bag in the corner for the better players. Fair play. I would go back to Helldivers, to be fair. It's much more fun. Rossi says, shit, didn't know Ryan would be here as well. I'll miss you. Yes. Stargrift is over. Or it's ending. Too much information, says Drinker. I think you should make a new channel that focuses on reviewing baby products. Call it the Critical Crinkler. Okay.
All right.
Past Two Wheels says, recently I met a stuntman from the OG Mad Max. He's a fan and had very nice things to say about the Drinker, so that's kind of neat. That is actually really neat. Nice one. Anakin Sims. Love the show, guys. Also, do you guys... I'm not going to say that one. Shit, I might have actually encountered one that I can't say.
There
you go. The Big Ship says, can you guys talk about Bran Stark's sociopathy? He made Hodor retarded for his entire life just to make him zombie chow to save himself. What the fuck, King Bran? There's a lot to break down with that character, and I think that's a shit thing to have done. You maybe can answer this. Electro Metro says, MauLer, why is your voice so damn hot? How much do I have to pay you for an ASMR session?
I'm sorry I don't take requests, but yeah, I don't know. You get genetic lottery, right? Sometimes you end up real long, which could be a bad thing, but sometimes you get a voice that's all right. So there's that.
That wasn't even a super chat either. That was just me straight up asking you that question. Big TBO says, Hail Stargrift. You guys did a great job.
Well, yeah, thank you.
Kim Bob says, Hail all. Question for MauLer. Do you know there's a metal... What's that? A metal band called Organized Chaos?
Well, yeah, there's all kinds of things called Organized Chaos because it's two words when you put them together makes you go, oh, interesting. But there's also someone out there ruining it.
Creativity's Vanguard says, Hail Drinker, Hail MauLer, Ryan, and Robot Head, and Angry Badger. The Angry Badger is an awesome channel. Dude's a machine. Not quite a Ryan Kinno machine, but high quality nonetheless. Give the man a sub. Cheers. I second that. He does produce good stuff, and I think he's doubled his sub count since he's done this open bar, so that's good. Easty says, with CGI, how much do you think it affects the performance of actors who cannot see what's supposed to be there, and is CGI more expensive than practical? It's not more expensive generally, no. And it's not as time-consuming on set, which is the biggie. Like, for example, I don't know, say you want to have an action scene and you've got a character that dives behind a wall and someone shoots it and there's a bunch of bullet holes appear in the wall. Well, you've then got to set up all the pyrotechnics. You've got to have a fake wall with, fake fucking plastic bricks or whatever. Yeah, all the pyrotechnics that have to go off in sequence, and it all has to get set up, and it takes ages. And the actor fucks up or the camera's not in the perfect position or whatever, you got to set it all up and do it again. And that is very time consuming when you've got 100 people on set doing stuff. So you can just do it in post with CGI. That's the sad reality of it. And it's cheaper and more cost effective. But for actors, yeah, I think it does impact them to a degree. Some can work around it. Some some studios are able to, have a pretty decent stand-in. Others are just like, look at that golf ball over there. That's that's hanging from a fucking crane. That's a dinosaur, or that's a big monster. Look scared. It's got to take it out of you as an actor.
You know when they land in Aliens on LV-426 and they're entering the the compound and the set is just fucking glorious. Everything about it. I have to imagine as an actor that is just pure joy being able to see all of that and be like, I'm here, and this is happening and I'm moving through and I've got my lines. That's obviously a fourth wall break in a sense in your own head, but that you've now incorporated them so hard into your memory. It's like a script that's running and that everything around you is a simulation that you can really get into it. However, if it was all green screens and tennis balls, then yeah, you're like, okay, I can still do this. I have an imagination, but I have to work a hell of a lot harder now.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of just stress on an actor. And some can really pull it off, but I don't think anyone can pull it off forever to the point where you like Ian McKellen, right? It's just like, this is not why I act. This is not why I'm here.
Well, I think the example that Red Letter Media gave as well, the classic one, is like, Obi-Wan Kenobi facing off against General Grievous. Grievous is like swinging like 8 lightsabers around in front of him, and he just doesn't really react because clearly the actor doesn't know what he's supposed to be reacting to at that point. And it's just
showing him the clones, right, in Camino, being like, this is 1,000 creatures that have just been created from a clone that are all simultaneously learning basic education and preparing for war. And he looks out the window and is like,
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine exactly what that looks like, I guess. But you show him concept art, but I just don't know. It's just not the same. But I don't want to knock the effort that goes into making those CG things, and that sometimes I would always cite the Balrog as just being a time where it's like, we needed the tennis ball, okay? We had to do it that way.
Yeah, there's times when it's necessary. Dragon Ball Z says, the Acolyte trailer is like playing Where's Wally? I guess that when it comes down to like finding white guys in it.
We had a criminal. There was a criminal, don't worry.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's nice to feel represented. Drams says, hello, Drinker and panel. I'd love to get y'all's thoughts on Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's my favorite movie of all time.
Damn. I think it's a really awesome celebration of cinema. I think it works as a bit of an imaginatory sort of delve into a world that didn't actually happen, but simultaneously looks like it could have and did have and feels good about stuff for that reason. I like a lot of the dialogue. I enjoyed the story, but it didn't sort of hit me in the same way that it would likely hit someone who's more of familiar with Hollywood culture, especially for the era.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I appreciate the film a lot, and I think it's really good, but it's not something I have any reason that I'd probably watch it again.
Yeah, again, I'm inclined to agree. Like, I can definitely see it as an impressive piece of cinema. It's just, didn't really feel gripped to the point where I'd want to keep rewatching it or anything. Cole Hauser says, hey, Drinker and MauLer, giving you some black representation here. Speaking of Star Trek V, there's a deleted scene of Mount Rushmore and a 5th president who was a black woman. Don't tell Ryan, the 199. Well, that's okay, because it's not a suspicious number of women in it.
Yeah, it's only bad when it's suspicious.
Yeah. Josh Kelsey gave us $20. Thank you. Cody Lawler says, petition to call the Alphabet Mafia the Homo Nostra. Well, see how it flies. Shinobi Reborn says, what's better written, House of the Dragon or Andor? Ooh. I'm going to say I liked House of the Dragon more. I was more invested in the characters there. Andor is like a more complex, I don't know, political drama. I guess House of the Dragon just was more gripping on a visceral level.
So the thing that gives it to Andor for me is episode 9 of House of the Dragon. I didn't like that episode for many reasons. I was quite ranty about it. Andor doesn't have one of those. The worst of Andor is like, oh, well, not a lot happened in that episode, but, still, it's still moving things forward and doesn't destroy anything. But the emotional highs of Hot D probably outclass the... It's not probable. It's the Viserys payoff is just, it blows out anything from Andor for me.
That's what I was going to come down to, really. Like, there's not an equivalent character in Andor that just like, wow, I'm loving every scene that he's in, and I just really want the best for this guy. I never really felt that with Andor. I was quite detached from all the characters in it. Not that they were stupid or badly written. It's just like they didn't really have that human element to them that made me empathize with them that much.
I think it was the end of episode 3 of the series became a person that I was like, man, I really feel bad for this guy. He just wants to have a family and for everyone to be together and to make it and to satisfy his role in this world compared to his forefathers, the responsibility he has. Like, I got all of that, and then I was fully on board with him, and then watched him deteriorate despite the fact that his family was booming. And then you realize what's going on underneath, and then he does, and then that last episode is just tragic.
Yep. It was good stuff. OMG Puppies says, maybe it's old news, but I just watched Zack Snyder on Joe Rogan podcast. He's surprisingly cool and likable. One of Joe's best interviews. I mean, he just perhaps so. Maybe his demeanor is, but he says a lot of retarded stuff. I don't know.
I'm sure he is a really fun and neat and chill guy to talk to, but yeah, as an artist, he frustrates the hell out of me, which is kind of funny, right? A lot of the time it's the reverse, where someone will have a horrible sort of set of beliefs, ideas, or interactions in real life, but that they're a really good actor or a really good writer, a really good director, that sort of thing. But this is the reverse for me, where it's like, Zach seems cool, but man, his work annoys the hell out of me.
Do you think he's got any good movies left in him at this point in his career?
The formula seems to be that he can direct certain adaptations and he can direct other people's scripts that are very strong. So that seems to be the only avenues left. I think we have proven he can't do fuck all when he's writing and directing.
Yeah, I agree. Rossi says, P.S. Today is Theory's birthday. Happy belated birthday, Star Wars Theory.
Yeah.
Lang-like Games says, Angry Joe included John Wick 4 and The Killer in his top 20 movies of 2023. Guess which film was number 19 and which film was number 3? I think
The Killer was 19.
Yeah.
I'm surprised The Killer got on there.
Yeah.
It's neat
Joe's got some interesting takes. The Wolfram Heart says, Padawan, I see fire. Me, I see gay them. Stephen Hernandez, is it better to rank TV shows as a whole property or by season?
I think it's up to you. Like, as in, like, it's worthy for the conversation. So when someone says how good is Buffy overall, it's like, it's okay. How good is Buffy season 1? Pretty bad. How good is Buffy season 5 and 6? Like, really good. How good is The Body as an episode? Incredible.
Yeah.
You have to just be a bit more specific. Like, we can do that with pretty much everything. Like Star Wars right now, I sometimes feel the need to be like, we are referring to what exactly when we say Star Wars?
Yeah. I said this the other night on Open Bar. I can now just make a pretty clear delineation between the different eras of Star Wars, and I'm fine with that.
An interesting question is, what do you think Star Wars is in your head? What's like the canon for you? And I think most of the people in our sphere sort of see it as 1 through 6 with some bits and bobs added on. Like, just Disney's additions are all this tumor that's essentially crusted and fallen off.
Yeah, I don't feel ultimately they've added anything of value. I could probably tolerate Rogue One. I don't think it destroys things too much if I was forced to, and Andor. But again, if I was forced to lose them in order to get rid of the rest of what they've created, yeah, I'd happily do it. Snex says, Hail MauLer, saw The Kingdom of Heaven EFAP and was reminded of Jerry Bruckheimer's King Arthur and wondered if you've seen it. Curious of your thoughts on that.
Which one is Jerry Bruckheimer's? Let me have a look. Oh, that is the one with Clive Owen, right?
Oh, in which case was that Jerry Bruckheimer?
I guess he produced it. Yeah, I couldn't remember if he had or not. But okay, yeah. So next in the arc will be Three Musketeers, and then after that, I believe, is the Mask of Zorro, and then after that is it's one of those two first, then the other one of those two second, and then King Arthur. So in 3 months' time, you should be seeing our coverage of King Arthur, the Clive Owen one.
I don't think I covered that one with you guys. Was I off that week?
You were off that one, yeah.
Yeah, I remember it being a bit shit.
It is a bit shit, but I found while editing it that it's got things in it that are like kind of commendable, only from the perspective that you think it's complete shit. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't normally say it's got stuff that's worthwhile in it unless someone had said it's got nothing worthwhile in it. If someone said, like, it's fine, or it's mixed, or it's kind of mixed but kind of bad, I'd be like, yeah, that's fair. There's a lot of inaccuracies, a lot of bad plotting, some wield stuff that doesn't make any sense. They took a lot of liberties, but you got a fantastic cast. It's kind of unreal, to be honest with you. Especially looking back, you have
Stellan Skarsgård's in it as well, isn't he? He's like one of the Vikings.
Yeah, you got him. Funnily enough, Ray Winston is in it, and he's probably one of the best in the whole cast for his performance. It's like he's kind of standout. Ray Stevens is in it, obviously. You have Mads Mikkelsen. I mean, Keira Knightley, Clive Owen, and Ian Griffith. They're all differing levels of how much. Well, I think the latter is the best of the three, but it's just a surprising amount of famous people. Is what I'm saying. It's just like, oh, look at them go.
Good on you guys. Undertow says, love you guys. Any Alien Romulus coverage today? Teaser dropped yesterday. Well, funny you should say that, because yes, we did cover it.
Where I got to explain my trauma somewhat with Alien.
Peter Garombi says, theory, the alien youngling from the trailer becomes a Sith because everyone knows he can't close his eyes, but they tell him to close them anyway. Yeah, it works for me, to be fair. Excuse me. Jimmy Dantes says, Hail Drinker, love the show. Can't wait to hear MauLer's take on Star Trek 6, my favorite. Also wanted to shamelessly plug my Home Alone podcast, The Long Road Home Alone. Season 1's on YouTube, Spotify, and Podbean. Cheers.
Thank you. You got a podcast all about Home Alone? How long does that last?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really know what you can say about it that's going to last week after week.
I guess you could go through the extra movies in the franchise. Is there a TV show for Home Alone now?
Oh, surely not.
Unless the podcast means he's in a home and he's on his own. But could be.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's called The Long Road Home Alone. Dearest says, Leslie finds queer-coded relationships in Frozen, a story about two sisters. I think that says something about former Harvey Weinstein's former assistant. It was a weird comment from her. Yeah, like I cried all the way through Frozen as a grown woman because the main relationship is between two sisters. And I think she described it as true love. It's like, it's not that kind of love, though. Like, it's not romantic.
Dude, Frozen is a movie I think I did see, and I was like, well, there we go. And then moved on. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know if you just have to be a girl or something to really get something out of that movie. I was just like, I don't fucking understand it. It's fine. It's just didn't blow me away. I don't rank it as like the greatest animated movie of all time. Like, it's crazy how much people spunked over that film. Boomstick. The trailer feels like they're going to pull a bait and switch. It looked good and shiny, but once it starts, we'll find out it has a horrible story. It could well be. I'm sure Alien Romulus was described as like a bunch of young people land on a desolate world and encounter aliens. And I'm like, why do they have to be young people? Why can't we have like people who actually look like they can run spaceships and be in charge of things and have like experience? Do you know what I mean? Like, when you look back at the first Alien, none of the people in that looked young or good looking.
Yeah.
They were all very grizzled and worn and experienced, and they looked like the kind of people who basically do space trucking, which is what it was meant to be as.
Yeah.
You know, and that was good casting. Even Sigourney Weaver, I think she was only like 29, but she looked older.
Alien is an amazing movie for a lot of reasons, and one of them is that they absolutely capture immersion in the sense of I could totally believe this is the future, even now, even with the shitty tech, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's something that's really difficult to capture, the way that and it's something that is like, oh God, Ridley, make a million more movies, and then you watch them and you're like, no, really stop.
Henry Ashman. Just watch the main characters give Yoda all his powers or steal all the credit. Doctor Who, Star Trek, etc. have all pulled this, so Star Wars is due. That's what I worry about. The fact that this, well, I say worry like as if any of it matters at this point, but yeah, the fact that this is like chronologically the first thing in the history of Star Wars that we've seen in live action, it does give them a tremendous amount of authority over the whole franchise. Because they can essentially say, well, whatever came about, you know, everything that followed on from this is because of the actions of our characters. So in a sense, we own them all now. And I don't like that, because every time it's done, it always feels like just trying to get your claws into every single aspect of a franchise. We control the past and the future and the present, and it's ours now. Andy Whelan, what will happen when the message is pushed into romance and rom-coms? Will the negative equity make them see we just want to be entertained? Do rom-coms even exist anymore? I don't think they really get made now.
They're on Netflix, are they? Is that where they go now? Streaming services, I think?
I don't know. That's where movies go to die, generally.
Well, I was about to say that is the bargain bin of movies these days. It's not even a matter of like, you and Drinker aren't searching them out and therefore don't find them. It's that seemingly nobody searches them out except the people who really want to find them. I don't know. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll come across a movie on Netflix where I'll be like, what the fuck? I've never even heard of this.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about one I watched with Mail Commander while he was over? What's funny is that I probably should have heard of it, but I hadn't. It was The Negotiator, I think, with Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's an old one. It's from the 90s, isn't it?
It is, but my point, I guess, is just that there's so much on there as a library. I was like, I read the description, saw the cast, and I was like, I've never heard of this. This feels like someone just dropped this in my lap and was like, would you want to see this? And I was like, I guess. And then when we decided to watch it, in the same vein, I think so much is getting lost on there that are actually famously good films, or at least films that people are aware of. And imagine just the rocking, the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the seabed of just absolute rubbish nonsense that's plowed out into there that no one ever sees or even hears of.
It would be really interesting actually to say pick like a fairly obscure movie on Netflix that's not advertised, it's just there like in their content library. How many people actually watch it? Like, is it in the hundreds? Is it that obscure? I don't know. It'd just be interesting to see what the viewing figures actually are for things like that. But when this guy talks about romance and rom-coms, I think the only time that you see them on a wide scale anymore is like Christmas movies. There's you can guarantee around about Christmas there will be fucking a million like romance movies, and it will all be the same formula. Like, I know people have talked about this a million times before. Some guy from the big city who moves into a small town and hooks up with like some suspiciously attractive woman who runs a bookstore or whatever, and learns to leave all his old life behind him. It's just like, it's a pure formula, but I think that's the only time you see that now.
I'm just looking on like the library for results for romantic comedies. There's so many fucking movies I don't recognize.
I'm not surprised.
It's insane.
Nicholas Kreuzer says, nah, man, they can go the Michael Burnham route and make the contradictions top secret. Oh, yeah, that was fantastic, that. Do you know anything about that?
Discovery?
Yeah.
Only what I've seen reviewed from Gary / Red Letter Media,
Okay, cool. So, yeah. You kind of know the general premise of like they're basically inserted this completely made up character into the chronology of Star Trek and just pretended like, oh yeah, you don't know about her because she was secret.
The thing they reference all the time is that she like gets into a time traveling Iron Man suit, and there's a kid that can explode all of, is it dilithium? Is the
yes.
They talk about it almost every time it comes up because it sounds like some of the most destructive writing. Like, to me, I'm just like, all I'm hearing is different versions of the hyperspace kamikaze. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I get it. I don't get it, but I get it.
Oh yeah. Trailblazer Productions. In the prequels, didn't Obi-Wan say that the Sith weren't seen for over a millennia? I guess they have very bad memory if the last one was 100 years ago. Was it?
There are ways around it. That sort of thing. And I think that if we had any faith in this as a good project, we would all be saying, no, they'll account for that. They'll account for that. But the thing is, this is being made by people who see Star Wars as just an opportunity. So, they're probably going to fuck it up. The thing about it is, I've seen people say like, oh God, they're fucking this up. I'm just like, they're going to fuck up way worse than that, mate.
Yeah.
They're not just going to contradict a line from Ki-Adi-Mundi in Star Wars, the prequel. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's just the beginning of it.
Yeah, for sure.
If they get their hands on actually having Yoda, like, woof.
Oh, could you imagine the damage?
Yep.
Well, I mean, like at this point, like I said before, who even cares? It's so broken beyond all hope of redemption. It doesn't even matter anymore. Suna Soul Silver says, at this rate, I might as well make a weeb fanfic of the Star Wars pre-prequels and sequels if I want to wipe away the garbage we're getting. Might as well. Hikira says, will the Acolyte be as lame and gay as Ryan, though? Love you, RK. Nothing could be as lame or as gay as Ryan. It's not possible.
Yeah.
52 movies a year. The only possible way to enjoy The Acolyte would be watching Ryan watch it. What's all the Ryan hate coming from?
he gets a lot of it. Even though I have a suspicion that he's nerdier than all of us, and he hides it.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, his knowledge of Star Wars is pretty in depth, isn't it?
I picture him as like the guy at the party who's like, I'm racist. Yeah, I'm racist. But then he's like, I want to talk about the new episode of Bad Batch. Come on. Come out.
Yeah,
he's trying to be cool, but you're not.
He'd have to like surreptitiously approach people that he thinks are fellow geeks. Like, hey, I want to talk about Star Wars a little bit.
Like, wait, I thought you were the racist. I am. I swear, I am. That's my whole thing, I swear.
Andrew Lee says, to anyone on the panel, what's an MCU film that you've liked better over time and one that you've liked less over time, not counting Endgame? Ooh.
Better over time.
I definitely liked Captain America more over time.
That's a good pick, I think. Yeah.
I thought that movie was goofy as fuck when I first saw it, and then I've, I don't know, come to appreciate the good old-fashioned wholesome heroism of it.
I came to like Ant-Man more when I was looking at it for the Quantumania video. I rewatched it and I was like, oh shit, this is actually like a decent film. I think why I hated it at first was all the Edgar Wright stuff. That was like a part of it. And then the fact that it's kind of lackluster as superhero movies go. But when watching it in reference to Quantumania, I was like, this is fucking leagues ahead. It's not even close. So I guess it went up a bit in the estimation there. Going down in estimation, though, I mean, it's controversial, but I would pick Winter Soldier. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you guys don't like that, do you?
It's very hard to like it when you think about everything that happens in that movie.
I mean, I know it's probably more time than we've got right now to go into that discussion, but no, I'd be interested to hear more about it at a future date.
Because I make a video and then fucking leave YouTube after it because people are pissed off.
Would it be weird of me to say that I kind of have liked Iron Man 2 more over time?
That's probably okay that you think that, yeah. I remember there's things in Iron Man 2 that are very easy to like.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like it's still part of that really good era of Marvel stuff. And yeah, it's definitely not a patch on the first one, but I always had a bit of a soft spot for it, I think.
Yeah.
Dr. Kaiju says, all hail the Fellowship. All of you and the rest of the Fellowship are the almighty voices of reason in this crazy world. Keep fighting the good fight and love all of your videos and streams. Cheers. Thank you. We will. Graph Webb says, for fuck's sake, cancel Disney Plus. I mean, why do you assume that we have it?
I think he said, I've been a part of so many streams where he says that. I think he's just saying it to everybody.
Okay. Why won't you listen? Bongwater Bojack says, Hail Drinker and Co. Is House of the Dragon worth watching even if I haven't and don't intend to watch Game of Thrones due to the reputation of its ending? Yeah, I'd say it's fine. You don't have to watch Game of Thrones to watch that.
They are as disconnected as needs be. For you're not benefited necessarily by any Game of Thrones knowledge. I mean, there's pieces that'll help you out, but really, yeah, you're fine. You can go in. In fact, honestly, if they do well with all of Hot D, you're probably going to be tempted to watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah, then, just stop around season 4 or 5, I think.
That's the thing. It's like, if they said, like, oh, I shouldn't, right? And it's like, well, it's some really fucking good TV for a while, so, yeah, I don't know.
Monolithic. If your goal is to make a political or social message, go for it. Write a new show or film or make a documentary. Don't hijack a beloved franchise so you can use it as your own personal soapbox. Well said. Couldn't agree more.
I mean, to be fair, like, they know what they like. If you said to them, "You shouldn't do that because it ruins the franchise," they'd be like, "I don't care." Like, that's the whole thing, right? Like, that's why they're doing it. They don't give a fuck.
I'm just so fucking tired of it. Like, it's just this endless aggravation of seeing another thing ruined. It's like,
I just got done watching Halo Season 2, right? And there's rants about how Halo's been destroyed. It's just like, yeah, get in the fucking, team. Join that circle, the Franchises Anonymous, where they all come in and talk about their abuse.
Yeah. That's kind of where we're at. And I guess eventually they run out of stuff to abuse. Dork Ritual says, it's like poetry, it repeats itself endlessly with no nuance or creativity. Inserting queer ideas from diverse perspectives to advance the not-so-subtle agenda that will drive investment and maximize profitability. I guess that's a problem. It doesn't really maximize profitability because it just drives away all their audiences, like the paying customer that they need. So,
what's the thing with profitability? It'll change like what is needed to be done. I think this was working at one point. Maybe if we go back to what 2018, 19, 20, something like that. Maybe it was like the golden era, but it was more so because of the fact that all the stuff that had come before it built it up to be able to make money no matter what.
That's what I've said, and I think initially people have a certain tolerance for this sort of thing. They either are enjoying the movies too much that they don't necessarily notice it, or they can sort of wave it off because it's new to them. Like, just say you just get a random character who makes some like comment about how black people in America are oppressed or whatever. You might be like, oh, that kind of came out of nowhere, but whatever. I'm still enjoying the films. It's not a big deal. But then, the more it happens, the more you start to think, why do they keep doing this? It's like they're all like got this weird agenda that they keep trying to shove into everything. And that's when you get pissed off. And that's when you just eventually think, nah, I just don't want to watch this anymore. It's just kind of annoying me now.
Well, yeah, like Madam Web. If that had come out during phase 1, I feel like we'd all be like, it's the worst one, but whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like, if it doesn't really make sense to make it a part of the MCU, but let's just say it was, we'd watch the rest and just be like, whatever. Fucking Madam Web was that weird anomaly where it was like a stupid as fuck film. It was really bad. These days, though, it gets approached from many different sort of lenses, being like, why did they make it? How do they make it? And then we learn about all the stuff behind the scene. And then if it's like celebrated as women, finally, you're just like, oh,
yeah. Finally, for the 27th time. Shaker Silver. That Lucas sold out should surprise no one. That didn't spit shine his image in the Disney era. He was selling out Star Wars integrity as early as Return of the Jedi, doubly so in the prequels. His care for his work died. Well, I mean, I know, like, I think it's a bit harsh to like shit entirely on Return of the Jedi, like just because of the Ewok thing. Yep, it was a commercial decision, really, rather than a creative one. That's not great, but it doesn't mean you didn't care about that film. It's just they had other considerations. But nowadays it's tough to take, I suppose. And I don't know. People have suggested that a lot of the reason he made this statement was that he got pressure from his wife because she's got like a board seat on one of the big financial institutions that's bought into Disney. Not sure how far that conflict of interest goes, really, but I don't know. I'm pretty disappointed in him for saying all that stuff. Like, he could have just stayed out of it completely. Real Stream says, hey guys, what are your thoughts on the upcoming movie Boy Kills the World? Looks like a good action movie.
I don't know much about it.
No, likewise. Two Crows Sanchez says, what are you drinking tonight, gentlemen? Well, as I recall, I was on Buffalo Trace and Coke that night, and it was good.
I think I might have been on water, so I'm so sorry.
Because I was looking back through the stream just to cut up some clips over the weekends, and I was like, fuck, I actually think I was really drunk that night. I could tell by my demeanor and how ranty I got. It's like, I must have had more than usual. Proud to finally catch you live. Would love your honest opinion on my satirical trailer of The Acolyte on my channel. I got the video rushed in between my work shifts. Nice. I guess just need to send us the link or something so we know where to look for it. The Javiator. Hello, Mr. Drinker. What are your thoughts on murder movies or shows like Seven, NCIS, Insomnia, Criminal Minds, etc.? I'm late today, so it'll probably be pushed to last orders, but I'd like to hear the panel's thoughts as well. So, like crime dramas and stuff, I'm not traditionally a huge fan of them. I never really got into like NCIS or Law and Order, that sort of thing. I like, say a murder mystery format for a TV. For a movie. I kind of like that. It's just like a little intellectual puzzle to unravel, but I don't really like police procedurals or anything like that. It's not really my thing.
I'm trying to think of, I'm similar. There's plenty of them that fit into that format that I appreciate, but I don't think they typically score very high with me in terms of what I like to see.
Henry Ashman, what are all the shows that writers and showrunners feel represented in about irredeemably evil characters desperately being painted sympathetically? I don't know where that comes from. I don't know what this modern desire is to put a kind of moral relativism on everything, whereas previously evil characters are now like portrayed as anti-heroes and stuff. Like, I get that you can have morally complex villains, that's fine, but you can't go retconning existing ones. That's just shitty. That's just lazy. And I don't like that approach.
I guess some people will be in a position where they think that's always better. Like, it's better to have even more nuance. That's what that is. And it's like way more complicated than that when it comes to storytelling. The example usually people go to is just like, do you think it would have been better for Palpatine to have like several scenes in Star Wars AOT that made you understand why he wants to kill everyone? I don't know.
Zed, hello, gentlemen. How come there's no backlash for former Harvey Weinstein assistant? How? Love you. Can't wait for future Stargrift specials. Yeah.
There's a couple of ones like that. A friend of mine was asking how come Jared Leto hasn't had his time yet with like the weird cult stuff and then all the weird set stories. It's like, isn't there easily something to like what's going on? And it's just like, I don't know. Sometimes they have their time. Actually, the I don't know if you've heard about it, right? There was the Quiet on Set documentary about Dan Schneider's come out. A lot of people were talking about that.
I've heard about it, yeah.
I've seen episode 1 of 4, and there's a portion where a woman talks about how she tried to sue him for all the things that he's being taken down for now. And she said like she wasn't that successful, but and it's sad that she couldn't stop him, so that he continued out well after she even did that. But that at least now he's going down. You know what I mean? Like, there are, to someone's downfall, you'll find there's lots of. I think that Jimmy Savile had the same thing. More and more voices were coming up before the end. You know?
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
It's weird, yeah. How like certain things just don't get picked up in the media or whatnot.
Yep.
It's like, why did you choose not to talk about this? Interesting. All Sword says it's no surprise that Leslie's trying to convince people that bad stuff isn't actually bad. She fed damsels to the dragon for decades. I mean, obviously I don't want to speculate on how much she knew and what her involvement was because we don't know. But yeah, that association is not a good one. Star Wars Gorob says they don't care. They're destroying Star Wars. They're making their mark. That is very true. Matt317, hey guys, recently played Force Unleashed 2 after originally skipping it. It's amazing how what would have been a mid-tier game in 2011 now seems like gold compared to Disney Wars. Cheers, guys. Cheers. It's all relative these days. Albert Nada Retro, nobody minds the patriarchy when the ship hits the iceberg or in wartime. How about 100 years of them being conscripted and drafted and we'll stay home? Yeah, that'd be nice. Freddie says, Yo Drinker and Co. Big fan from Sydney, going with the Aussie theme. Highly recommend watching a show called Mr. In Between. Yeah, I've heard lots of recommendations for that. Dogzilla, MauLer and Ryan, you were supposed to grift the drinker, not join him.
And yet we did.
That's it. They've come over to the dark side. I did join the grift for one episode, so
yeah,
did my part. Neil Lindgren, George Lucas saying he supports Iger means Star Wars is officially dead. Not that it wasn't dead already. Yeah, I mean, I've said as much myself. Cameron Agai says, Hail Drinker and panel, long-time listener, first-time super chat. Welcome aboard. How ironic that George Lucas was an amateur when he first created Star Wars. Yeah, Ryan said as much on Open Bar the other night. Yeah, it's weird that he would say creating magic is not for amateurs. Like, well, that's how you started out, and I'd rather have a passionate amateur than a fucking soulless corporation that's just trying to push garbage messaging into everything they make.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem a bit of a clumsy comment.
Big TBO says, did you guys see the vid from VR about Lucas's wife being a board member of Chase Bank? That's who they are, Chase Bank, whose CEO is on the Disney board. Seems pretty convincing. Yeah, that's a pretty strong connection, and it does make me wonder if it was just her stepping in. Like, George, I need you to say this because I'm getting a lot of heat. I don't know, to explain a few things. Michael Whitehead, technical question. What would be a decent, affordable camera and microphone to invest for YouTube? How do you superimpose internet tabs or other stream to comment in on a YouTube recording? So, I don't know, you're more of an audio-visual guy than I'm, MauLer.
I'd just easily recommend going to YouTubers for this. This would have been a fair thing to ask, I think, like even a decade ago. But these days, there are channels that are built to get you the best sort of knowledge and deals on these things. I'm so out of the loop on it because I've been using kind of the same tech for a long time, like not needing too many upgrades, because I would have done the same thing back when I picked these up. You know what I mean? Like looking for all the information on the best thing. So I just wouldn't consider whatever advice I would have to be that reliable. There's a lot I don't know about what's best for you. So, like I said, there are channels dedicated to this. You just got to do a bit of YouTubing. You'll find your answers.
Yeah, well, you recommended this microphone setup to me actually, and I've been using that for like a year, so it's been good. Timmy04, rewatched Open Bar 50, still your best one. Can't wait for 100. Make sure to give Friggy an introduction this time, though. was 50 just chaos where we had everyone in?
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, sounds like us. Chrome Vader says, representation in all its forms has replaced storytelling as studios' reason for making films. Movies are now self-portraits of their directors, and characters are personas of the so-called actors. I think essentially that's kind of the problem that they have, where the representation and ideas and messages that they want to put in take priority, and then the story comes second, which is not how you're meant to do it. Ryan MC, I like you guys, but at what point do you stop being children with your money? Why are you paying for these films and streaming services? I mean, what makes you think we're paying for them?
with statements like that, Trigger, I'm just like, whatever world you've created in your head, I hope you're comfortable in it. Like there's a lot of, and ultimately as well, it is interesting, right? Because you have something like The Gentleman come out, and it's like, oh, I guess we shouldn't support that in any way, shape, or form then, even if that's exactly what we're looking for in terms of entertainment. Because
and plus, like, if it's kind of our job to review media, then okay, well, what do you want us to do? Like, we review it, and we give our opinions on it, and it might help inform other people. Which is
there's a lot of prisms to this, but ultimately it's I wouldn't assume anything. Just FYI.
Trencher says maybe Ahsoka, Omega, Reva, Sabine, Shin, and Bo-Katan will join Rey in the future and create the new Jedi Order. Why not? I'm sure they would love to do stuff like that. Doctor says, have you all seen Space King? Praise be to the Space King.
Yes, it's funny as fuck. And I mentioned this on, I think, what the EFAPs or stream, but the part of their pitch at the end when they finish episode 1 is support us and you'll get more content that's not filled with bullshit. Like they're saying, like, just if you want to see stuff that's violent or has swearing that doesn't care for like a particular point of view being pushed as opposed to just a fun fantasy setting with all crazy shit happening, then support us. And it's just interesting how much that is spread around, as like a marketing thing.
No, that's pretty cool.
I'm curious when we'll see it in mainstream.
Yeah. Ryan Grant says, Drinker, have you heard of the film Cabrini? Amazing cinematography and compelling story of a 19th century Italian nun contending with the government of New York to help poor Italian immigrants. Deals with legit racism, light on religion, and heavy on story and hope. Yeah, I mean, it's, like I say, I saw it. I'm pretty impressed with it. It's a nice, solid story. Pretty, relatively free of like contemporary politics, I guess. So, good stuff. Rattle Shark says, I've been seeing conflicting reports of a big screen Battlestar Galactica movie. 1 minute it's on, the next minute it's off. Do you know if this movie is going to happen? If so, will Warner give us a great movie or no? I have no idea. Like, I've basically been divorced from Battlestar Galactica since the TV show ended, and I've not really heard anything more about it. Let me see. I'm just gonna... Okay, so... There's nothing particularly relevant news-wise or anything. Nah, I don't think there's anything going on there. Andy Whelan. When it comes to Star Wars, it feels like someone took a shit on the security blanket that I had as a baby, and they're angry that I don't want to hug it now. That's pretty good. Rotornator says, I think we need to stop calling them woke. Let's call them pagans, people against goodness and normality. That's fair enough. James Evans, Leslie Headland is who Disney got from the Operation Paperclip of the Me Too movement. Love all of your guys' efforts. Buzzing for rogue elements. Thank you, man. Berg Flicker, sad that they finally Doctor Who'd Star Wars for Drinker. Headland with no morals and a pro liar who fed girls to Weinstein is perfect to gaslight the message. I'd say so. Did it ever really stick out for you? You know that scene where she's at Star Wars Celebration and she's asked, like, what did Star Wars mean to you? And it's like, Star Wars literally saved my life. It's like the cringiest fucking thing ever. Like, I don't know why she felt like it was a good idea to say that. I don't imagine there was a single person in the audience that bought it.
There's always that, yeah. Sort of like, I don't know. But I guess I don't want to begrudge anybody who makes that claim. It's like, sure, okay.
It just feels like, okay, just, give us something plausible here. Like, it got me through some tough times and it provided a lot of entertainment, or it inspired me in some ways to try and do better in life. Like something like that that's kind of, within the realms of possibility, I guess. I think people could probably get that. Little Squiddy says, I can't understand the choice of Rosario Dawson leading the Ahsoka show. She was awful, and especially when she was fighting Hayden Christensen. I know. We all talked about it. Yeah. It's not because she's old. Like, she's not even that much older than him. It's just some people can do fight choreography. I guess some people are good with, like, the fake lightsabers and stuff, and others just aren't. And you can see how hard she's having to work in those scenes. Like, she's really having to put a lot of thought into it to just do the basic fight choreography. It's funny, but it's also kind of sad. Another name says, remember that Chewie was alive at the time of the Acolyte show so they could re-ruin him. Was he? How long do Wookiees live?
A long time, and if it's 100 years prior to prequels, then I guess he could still be around and plenty for them to ruin if they want to.
Great. World War II Trooper. Star Wars games are especially malnourished right now, which is a massive shame, as the 2000 era games had some of the most influential ones. I'll take your word for that.
Yeah, there's some real good ones.
Will Van says, Star Wars was king. I grew up collecting Star Wars toys with my dad. Now I'm just sad at how much they've destroyed a connection point with my family. Well, I guess all I'd say with that is just remember the original trilogy and just forget about the new stuff.
And you can always get forge some new connections with other media, right? There's some other great stuff out there to watch with the family.
Yeah. VJS Camilla says, I wish these creators would behave like the characters they created. OMG Puppies says, some series of movies begin with an artistically innovative film. Aliens, Star Wars New Hope, Pitch Black, and then a more popular but formulaic sequel. Aliens, Empire Strikes Back, etc. I mean, I guess, yeah, it's kind of a theme in movies. When you get a bigger budget, more attention, there's more on the line for a sequel. You tend to play it safe a little bit more. I mean, I would say Aliens is not formulaic. It's just a really great, fun movie.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I'd put it in terms of how it's is or is not formula, and whether or not I think a film is formulaic a criticism or not. It's like, maybe. But Aliens is just incredibly well executed, whether or not I guess it's formulaic.
Stefano Barini says, Drinker, I noticed you never released a part 2 of Why Modern Movies Suck, They Hate Men. Is that still in the works? Well, that's a good point, actually. I felt like I didn't have enough material initially to... it wasn't fully formed, I suppose, what I wanted to say in part 2, and then it sort of fell by the wayside when I was doing other things and just hadn't really got back to it. I wouldn't be against doing it, I suppose. Chrome Vader says, Star Wars has become that bad joke that your dad keeps telling you over and over. Every time he tells it, it gets longer, less funny, and alienates more relatives. Orangutan says, Hail Christopher Drunker. Thank you. Rated M. In less time than it takes Disney to make movies, AI will be able to spit out any book in the Star Wars catalog for any fan of the series. Very true. Rory Swain. Hail to the Drinker and Co. Am I the only one who's confused by the Acolyte trailer? No idea what it could be about and not even hyped for it at all. I said as much. It just tells you precious little, really, about what the plot is. I didn't really feel like I understood who any of the characters were, what role they played. It's just a bunch of people doing random things. Flying Paladin says, cool guys wear sunglasses indoors. Damn right they do. Oilers Workshop. Right, what's this say? Willback Fede Alvarez shared on Twitter all the research he did when making this film, and he made sure to show that he read The Art of Alien Isolation. So I think you mean the director for this movie. So he's quite well versed in that world then, I guess. AG says Romulus might also be a reference to the Romulus and Remus story. Yes, that's kind of what I assumed. Nice sort of, allusions to classical literature and stuff. So I guess maybe. Antonio Moya says, question I've been wanting to ask you all. What did you think of V for Vendetta? I really liked it, and I made a nice review of it.
I like it a whole bunch, but it has I've always loved it since when I watched it. It's got a particular style. It's kind of silly at times, but I don't know. Yeah. I find it very enjoyable.
Hugo Weaving's voice is just glorious to listen to as well. I could listen to V just give his opinions on everything all day.
Yeah.
Superfly says, did you see the news of Margot Robbie trying to make a Sims movie? Why? There's no way it could be anywhere good. It'd be pure preaching nonsense. I don't know if that's true, but yeah, it seems like a weird thing of just getting typecast as playing these like toy characters or video game characters like brought to life. Just why? I don't know. Eddie says, Hail Drinker and MauLer. This is my first super chat ever. What did you guys think of the Yaira trailer produced by Eric July and the Soska sisters? Well, I don't know because I haven't even seen it, so I have no idea if it's good or bad or what.
I'm pretty out of the loop on the everything that's going on with it. Like I get a lot through Real BBC, but I'm still kind of unclear on comic versus because live action, but then there's animations as well. I struggle to keep up with everything these days, so I'm not sure what I did. Obviously, wish best of luck for anybody who's going to that level of business. It's kind of flooring just how much he's creating, Eric. Obviously, I don't want to diminish any of the other people involved as well. But I'm sorry, I just don't know enough about it to say a lot.
I remember when I was on live stream with Eric, he showed me the trailer for Alpha Core, and I thought that was good. So, yeah, good stuff. It's impressive, just the volume of things that they're putting out, the volume of content.
I think it's really
they've
cool.
Really ramped up. Like they've become a proper company now.
Multiple mediums, multiple characters, involving as many creatives as they can. It's just a cool process. So I hope it all works out. Like even better than what it currently is in terms of. Haven't they made millions? It's just like kind of
I think so. Yeah.
Shit, man. Yeah.
Grimnack, have you guys seen The Last Kingdom? So is that a TV show? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
That's the No, Kingdom is the zombie ones, right? Last Kingdom.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a TV show.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so I started watching it. I think it didn't really grab me. It felt like a bit of a sort of pale imitation of Vikings or something. I don't know. Yeah, I'm doing a bit of a disservice to it there. I would need to have watched more of it to give you a proper assessment. Marine Lad says, good evening, drinker and hosts. We play Dead by Daylight Thursday nights Australian time. We need a fifth player. We'd be honored. Rank the Alien movies. That was a bit of a segue.
Okay.
Love to join you, but yeah, my Thursday nights are a bit busy, unfortunately. But the Alien movies, okay. I'm going to say I like Aliens more than Alien, although I probably recognize that the first one is a better movie. But the order I would go in terms of my preferences: Aliens, Alien, then probably Alien 3, and then Alien Resurrection. And do I have to even talk about the Alien versus Predator ones? No, I'm not going to talk about them. And then I'd probably go Prometheus and then Covenant.
I'll go Aliens, Alien 3, AVP, Resurrection, probably Prometheus, then AVP 2, then Alien Covenant.
At least we agree on at the bottom.
Fuck yeah.
That movie. Michael Batty says, cheers to you absolute chads, you total lads. Thank you, sir. Patrick Mulligan, Trigonometry, Ben Shapiro, Piers Morgan, congrats on getting a round drinker. Now talk to Jordan Peterson and Lex to become a regular old Destiny. Well, yeah, who knows? See what happens. Maybe one day I'll be on Rogan. Jamaican Bacon says, hey drinker, anime recommendation. Number 69,000. Hope you check out Parasite one day. John Carpenter's The Thing, but the alien makes it out of Antarctica. Cool. Kenan Folderall, MauLer, sorry to see that Stargrift's ending. Thanks to both of you for watching Star Trek 4. Sorry you had to watch 5. At least you have 6 to look forward to. Cheers.
Yeah, and try not to look at it as a sorry it's ending, more of a it was neat that it happened, because it was honestly probably not going to happen at all until we were like, oh, we can try and make it work. So, it was fun while it lasted, sort of thing.
Yeah. Demon Blackflyer says, considering the plot to Dune Messiah involves malevolent T's and their non-binary ninjas trying to groom a blind man, not sure how they're going to make that without causing a clusterfuck. I mean, yeah, there's kind of crazy stuff. The Bene Gesserit have already been established as like pretty nefarious organization that are willing to take some pretty extreme measures for the bigger picture. And so I think they could probably get away with that. They might rejig some of the questionable elements of it, I suppose, to make it fit. Friday the 13th, Michael says, strange the whole film industry is 95% extreme leftists. Same with musical theatre. They become forced echo chambers and why they're dying industries. I mean, I don't know if it is 95%. I just think, a lot of people are just afraid to speak their true thoughts in these industries because it's easier to just be quiet and keep your head down and not get blacklisted. But yeah, it just feels like a climate of fear, really. I'd hate to work in it. Oilers Workshop says, Hans Zimmer variety interview about Dune 2 score right at the end of the video. He says he's already been handed the Dune Messiah script to work on the score. Interesting.
Okay.
Hypnotic, just kidding. Everyone in this chat needs to subscribe to Badger. He's a king among kings. I'm happy to say that I know him. Very nice. Cheers, man. Silent Evil says, great part 2 movie lists, drinker. I enjoy the Ghostbusters 2 thing. It's got a lot of great individual scenes, no cohesive glue to hold it together. But man, Ghostbusters 2016 and Afterlife make Ghostbusters 2 look like the classic 1984 version. I mean, yeah, it's just a downward spiral, really, isn't it? Solid OG's Deep State Center says, in Tony Soprano meme voice, he liberated the Fremen is what he did. He was Lizan al-Gaib, Duke of Arrakis, the voice of the outer world, and in his siege, Paul Muad'Dib Atreides is a hero. I can't do it in Tony's voice, I'm afraid. Sorry. What's that? Hatchet says, Jess of the Shire YouTube channel has a video breaking down why Tolkien didn't like Dune. I watched recently and I highly recommend. Yeah, we were talking about that quite a bit on stream, so I might give that a watch, actually. Sanity Clause. Dune is the epitome of the careful what you wish for because everyone got what they wanted, strive for, but in ways they never imagined and far worse than they expected. The Bene Gesserit, the Guild, and the Fremen. Yes, it's an interesting story. Vinyl Morpheus. Just watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy again recently, and I know I'll catch heat for this, but the theatrical cuts are better. The pacing is just too off in the extended cuts. Both are great, though. I think MauLer just had an aneurysm when you said that.
That wasn't about Lord of the Rings, was it?
Yes.
No, it wasn't. It was about something else.
Yeah, they were confused.
I agree. The theatrical version of Kingdom of Heaven is better than the director's cut.
When because they just put LOTR, so I'm going to say they were referring to Legion of the Ronin.
Oh yeah, famously better theatrical versions. True.
The DEF CON Prime experience. Pull at Freddy's is the same thing as Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan. That's how I saw it. I did get the impression that Paul is a wanker. Okay. OMG Puppies. Herbert's son wrote some prequels like a trilogy about the AI machine wars. Yes, that'd be the Butlerian Jihad. I like them more than the last weird Dune books that Frank wrote. Yeah, I think he was just off his tits on LSD towards the end, so that's probably why. Beard says, every normie I talk to has no idea that the spicing girl was a thing. They didn't get how important the spice was. This movie sucked. I think you mean Spacing Guild. Yeah, I mean, they're not really referenced that much in the movies, so the books talk about a lot more. Nathaniel Updike says, A Bug's Life did Rebel Moon better than Rebel Moon did itself. Hopper was a better villain than Space Hitler. Drinker, I'm looking forward to Rogue Elements. When can we see it? Well, we've pretty much locked down the final cut now because I got to see a rough cut, and now we've locked down the finished version, so they're just adding in the VFX, and then we'll be done. So not long at all.
Sweet. And I agree about the Rebel Moon thing.
Jay Fraser, hail gents, House of the Dragon back to kill a second prequel show. Well, we'll see.
Maybe. Yeah.
Neon Banana, thoughts on Fallout? Not much so far. The trailers aren't filling me with joy. Dekoth says, I can't wait for Mace Windu to shout Black Girl Magic when she kills a bunch of white Jedi men in a girl boss moment. Sarcasm. Jay Fraser, has anyone seen Nigel Neal's Quatermass series, films and radio plays? It's the OG British sci-fi show that began a decade before Doctor Who. I've got vague memories of watching like Quatermass and The Pit with my dad when I was a little kid, but I don't remember too much about it, unfortunately. It was a little bit before my time.
Definitely before mine.
Great Dead Pulio says, I'm Badger's favorite Latinx. Nice. Max Gagliardo says, Ryan Kinno is a great human being who respects women and rarely ever uses rage bait. I'm not saying this because of his assistant pointing his gun at my head as we speak. Honest. Well, there you go.
Well, good.
Yeah. Jay Fraser, leaked spoilers for Alien Romulus, directed by Alvarez. The film is set between the first two films. The corpse of the Nostromo alien is discovered, Black Goo is back, and an asteroid named Rook will have Ian Holmes' likeness and voice, a la Tarkin. Oh, please don't tell me that's true.
Didn't you read that out and say the exact same thing?
I know, like, because I'm kind of like, I'm skipping over some of the bigger super chats because I know I did read them out, but I don't remember that one. But I was probably really drunk towards the end, so that might be why. I don't know.
It's a sad reality that's probably the case. Dude, the fact that they said the corpse of the one she booted in the first film, we're going to find it. I'm already like, ugh.
Yeah.
Such an unnecessary connection.
That's weak. Pierced by Light, they don't need to explain every damn detail. Grr. Easty says, Threads, the BBC nuclear war film, is the most disturbing one I've ever seen. Just stuck with me so long after. Yeah, Threads was bleak, man. Kaiju, are you going to watch the Civil War show? Only if I hear that it's good, because I can't really be arsed with that.
Civil War show?
Yeah, well, there's going to be like a TV show. Is there not about like a Civil War in America?
I thought that was the film, right? Alex Garland is making it, whatever. Or is
it says show here in the super chat.
Civil War, which is out in a month, I think. I'm almost certain that's a movie. If there's another thing,
movie. Maybe they just mistyped or something.
Yeah. I'm curious to see it, but probably not talk at all about it because it's going to be one of the most fucking divisive films in the history of cinema, probably.
Interesting timing to bring it out as well. Like, Jesus.
Yeah. Nice. Good job. Make everyone happy about that.
Emissario, a small offering for the plate. Thanks to you. Thanks, man. Max also says Ryan Kinno is a respectable being. That's not because his assistant is holding me hostage. He's just going to keep typing that. Silent Evil, 100% agree with MauLer on Blade Runner 2049. Just look at any comparison video on YouTube of similar scenes with the original film. It doesn't look visually good. The music is definitely not.
Hasn't surely Razor Fist has a video annihilating Blade Runner 2049 because people want us to do coverage, and I'm like, I don't fucking have the time to break that down, but I know there's got to be countless videos of people who've done stuff for it.
I mean, I've reviewed it, like, and I didn't review it that favorably compared to the original.
Oh, I'm talking about something, not like, I'm assuming your video was probably 10 to 15 minutes, right? Like, I'm talking about something of a deeper breakdown. I don't know if Razorfist has done it. I don't think Gary has a video on it, but like I don't have a video on it. But there's gonna be videos you can find on the internet that will do a breakdown scene by scene, line by line, and talk about how that shit is so fucking gross to attach to Blade Runner. I kind of hate that movie.
I don't hate it, but it is not a patch on the original. Last one is Jackson Cagle says, I lived in Carnoustie. Hail chat, good stuff. I don't know why I put that bit of information in there, but thank you. Cheers, man. And that was the last of the super chats there. We've done it. There was a lot today. Damn, you guys were super generous. Thank you for, I guess, sending so much our way and asking us so many questions and showing such generosity. As always, we do appreciate it, and hopefully we've answered them all for you. But
Razorfist does have a video on it, and the top comment is, I think he didn't like the film, guys. Yeah, I can imagine he probably hates it.
Is it like a Razor rant, or is it like a proper in-depth?
It's a 10-minute video, so I imagine, it's more of a rant.
Okay.
I thought you would have done a big breakdown on it, or maybe he doesn't want to spend any time on it.
He's not really known for long-form content, though, is he?
That's true. But I would have wondered if he'd make an exception for Oh, he's got 2 videos on it, actually. Blade Runner 2049, a rant, and then Blade Runner 2049 is bad and you should feel bad.
Okay.
Don't worry, Razor, I do feel bad.
Anyway, guys, we're going to finish up there. Thank you, MauLer, for joining me for this.
No problemo.
Alrighty. Well, we'll catch you on the next open bar, everyone. But that's all we got for today. So go away now.
Bye.